Leaders are called leaders because they have influence. I've written many books on leadership. I've just published the 19th book, and my topics are on leadership and relationship. Those are the two areas I cover. And in all my books, I say a leader is an influencer. You cannot be called a leader unless you are influencing. Number two, because of the Great Commission, all Christians are leaders. You don't have to be a pastor, don't have to be a departmental head, all you need to be a Christian. Because the Great Commission is not a commission for apostles. It's a commission for everybody. If you're in doubt of that, but just look at the commission in the book of Acts, where he is saying, wait in Jerusalem, and you'll be filled with the Holy Spirit. What happens? When you are full of the Spirit, you become witnesses. Who are witnesses? Influencers. Okay, the point? Now, if you go to verse 15, Acts chapter 2, verse 15, it says there were 120 people when the Holy Spirit landed on them. And that tells you clearly, the people that were going to become witnesses were not apostles or bishops. They were just any believer. And the moment you become a believer, you become an influencer. Are we together? So when you are told to come and talk to influencers, you really are part of the Great Commission. And that is very, very important. Let me repeat what I've just said. A leader is an influencer. You are not a leader unless you are influencing someone. Our friend says that if you are a leader and you look back and nobody is following, please know you are taking a walk. Because if you truly are a leader, somebody will be following. But that's where the trouble comes. That the moment, if you're a manager, and I was a manager for many years, if you're a manager, the people who work with you are not called followers. What are they called? Subordinates. Managers have subordinates, leaders have followers. And you know, when you are a subordinate, you refuse to follow, to do what your boss says at your own risk. Because the choice is not yours. The choice belongs to the manager. When you are a leader, the people who work with you are the ones with the power. Because following means voluntarily coming behind somebody. The moment I have to come behind you, I'm not a follower. I'm only a follower if I could choose not to follow. So leaders are followers, and that relationship, power tilts to the follower than the leader. And you know, the moment I saw that, I realized a lot of leaders are not even aware that you are not a manager. That's why many people claim to be, many people claim to be leaders are actually managers. Some of the pastors, when you listen to them talking to some of their elders, you know very well they don't regard themselves as leaders. They regard themselves as managers. What's wrong with you? They are talking to Sunday school superintendent. Do you know I'll fire you? No. First of all, you are not paying her any salary anyway. But it just shows you a confused leader, isn't it? If he is a leader at all. Because if it's a follower, power is not with you. Power is with the follower. And that Sunday school teacher, superintendent, could very easily choose to be elsewhere. Do they actually do that? My wife calls it, they vote with their legs. They don't argue with you. They don't do anything. You just take them out of the church. They are voting with their legs. And that's what you need to understand. If you are a leader, you don't have subordinates. What do you have? Followers. Second point. If you are an influencer, the critical selling point of an influencer is trust. Nobody can follow somebody who they think is trying to kill them ahead. Anybody following, the currency of influence is called trust. So that anybody who is a leader is trusted. And it's very important, I need to understand that you can be an MP, but you're not a leader. you bought the boats. It was a trading. Are we together? So you need to understand clearly, because that's very, very important to understand, that unless people trust you, they will not follow you. And because they are not following you, you turn immediately into management. Many leaders find management much easier. And management is transactional. In other words, you do this and I do this. Scratch my back, and the only reason why there are some people with you, they are not followers. They are scratchers. You scratch your back, they are also scratching yours. If you really are talking about, and that's not my main topic, I'm only introducing my topic. If you really want to enter into leadership, it will be critical that you become a leader. And you only become a leader when you realize power is with the followers. And the moment you realize power is with the followers, you realize they have to trust you. And in order to trust you, you need character. Are we together? One of my books is called The Character of an Influential Leader. And in the book, I analyze why you cannot be a leader unless you are trusted, and you cannot be trusted unless you have character. I want to say that my topic is about being salt and light as leaders. And I want to say that this is not a very difficult topic to talk about, because that's what we struggle with. I left the university in the 1970s. I was the chairman of the University of Christian Union in 1975. And at the time, you were not asked which university, because there was only one. So when you say you're in the university, they knew. There wasn't two. They could ask you which campus, but they cannot ask you which university. So I was the chairman of the University of Christian Union, so you understand, 1975. When I left university, and I went to work for a development bank, immediately I knew what it is to be a salt. Why? I was busy as a young man coming to the office, and in the department I joined as a young man, we used to have a register where you wrote down the name and the time of arrival. I didn't find anything odd about that, so I did every day. But one day, I came at 8:15 instead of 8 o'clock. And I wrote down John Nganga, 8:15. Nothing much. I'm just writing. I'm sorry to be late, but I'm not a liar, so I'll say exactly when I arrived. Later in the day, the older people were looking at me in a strange way. I started checking myself. You know, you go to the gents to find out whether there's something wrong with your suit. Because you cannot, they are looking at you, they are talking about you. You know, you can tell when people are talking about you. They are not talking to you, they are talking about you. And I was so uncomfortable. Until one lady was there, says, young boy. You know, that's a way of insulting the new graduate. Because in the 1970s, there were not many graduates anyway. In a company, you'll be among the few people. Yeah, young boy, what's wrong with you? I said, what have I done? Why did you report all of us that we came late? I said, I can't do that. I have not been to the manager's office. I don't know. I don't understand. You fool. Do you think you don't know what you did? What did I do? You wrote that you came at 8:15. It's true, I came at 8:15. Don't you understand what happened? Go to the register and see. Everybody else came at 8:15. Because the normal procedure was everybody, the last person who came at 8, even the ones who came at 9 still came at 8. Because you can't write an earlier time. You cannot write the same time or later. So by writing 8:15, I forced everybody who came after me to report that they were late. I said, I'm so sorry. I had no intention of making it difficult for others. I wasn't talking about me. But you pray that I never come late again. Because even if I come late again, 8:30, all right? 8:30. Just pray I don't come late again. Because it's wrong for me to lie. I wish there was a way of me telling my truth without affecting you. And then I thought about it, because nobody wants to be disliked. Remember, I want to witness to these people. I have come to the company ready to be a witness of the Lord. I know we are from the university and what? Wanting to witness. By doing this, I'm jeopardizing my opportunity for influence. but I had no alternative. My friend, I discovered that you don't have to try anything. Just be yourself, and you're in trouble, number one. Number two, you change your place. Because they now knew they had better come on time. Because in the case Nanga comes late. Are you getting the point? So that's what we mean by becoming the salt. The thing you need to understand about salt are three things. Number one, salt is never required in big quantities. Never. Never required in big quantities. In fact, studies are showing that in a community, all you need is 20% of the people to change, and they influence the 80%. You don't require the majority to change for you to change a community. You just require, just like in salt, in a full plate of food, you only need a little salt. Am I right? And that's the first thing you need to understand. If Christ is asking us to be a salt of the earth, not about we are so few. Yeah, salt is never big quantity. And that's what you need to understand. That as God is sending you to influence your community, He is aware. Narrow is the way, wide is the way. You know the story, isn't it? So you need to come out of this conference aware that if Christ is asking you to be salt, you always be in a minority. I did my Form 4 1971. So from 71, this for the 50 years, I've been an adult. Therefore, involved. I was born 1952, so you can tell by 71 I was already getting to 20. Now, the critical thing is, I have discovered adults can be difficult. Am I right? Yeah. And they get to the level where it is assumed everybody is the same. I was just sharing with the bishop how I was a young man who used to be in Chiromo campus. One day, looked for my telephone. That is, he was in university early 90s. Now we are in the new millennium. 20 years afterwards. And he's looking for me. So he said, you can't remember me, but I used to be in the Christian Union when you used to come to speak to us. And then I said, what do you like? I want us to meet. He said, can you just share the subject? Yeah, I just want to know that you are serious with the things you are still preaching. Now I told him I can meet you even today. Because I knew it was I was at stake. And you know, he's doubting my Christianity. That's not a small matter. So I told him, let's meet in Ajaba. We met in Ajaba and he was ready for me. He told me, when we were in the sea, we kept inviting you regularly in the Christian Union. And you gave us an impression that a Christian professional can obey the Bible and succeed professionally. I've now been out of campus for many years. And I'm starting to wonder whether that is true. Number one. Number two, I've decided to consult other people, your age mates. And they are all telling me to be pragmatic. Don't be silly. You can't do things that way and hope to succeed. One of the elders, and he goes to a Pentecostal church. One of the elders told him, you saw the house I own in such a place. Another one. There's no way you can get land in Nairobi and go ahead and build it with the city council requirements without once in a while giving money that has not received. It's not called a bribe. Christians don't never bribe. They only give money without receipt. And you say, there's no way, this is Kenya. There's no way, it can't happen. Don't be cheated. That's the same way. Then he stopped that one, he went to another one. And the other one repeated, these are all seriously, Pentecostals speaking in not a few tongues. Now, and they're all professionals, they are rich people, and he's seeking to know. And the other one repeated the same thing. By the time the third one is saying the same thing, he realized he's serious. There are no such things as what Nana used. So he started asking people in Focus. I've been involved in Focus. Focus is a fellowship of Christian Unions. So he would look for my number until he got it. And that's how we met. For the next 2 to 3 hours, I was in Ajaba trying to show him I mean what I said. And it required one testimony after another. What about this? Another testimony. Because he does not require theory. I gave him theory in the university. Now he's after, does it actually work? Are you getting my point? There is a strong belief among young people that Christianity does not work. But it's drama. That's why in church we do drama. You know, drama is not real. So a lot of Christianity is drama. So you say things, but you actually don't mean it. And I realized, by the end, now I understand. So it's tough, but doable. I told the young man, now you have understood me. It's tough, but only doable because you are not on your own. You are with God. So we left. Then I asked myself, all these years, from the time I left from 4, I've been preaching. For the last 50 years, I've been preaching in one place or another. That means I've been doing mouth exercise. They really don't take me seriously. And I thought I better sit down and write a book of testimonies. Bishop told me he had picked the book. That's why we went to that story. It's called Integrity, the Litmus Test of Good Leadership. Remember I told you, the whole issue about leadership is trust. And trust is not possible unless you have character. And character is not possible unless you have integrity. Am I communicating? And so I shared in the book what I shared with the young man. I thought that is all. But not too long ago, you had the chairman of EONET, which is Ethical Leadership Network, where we are trying to talk to Christian leaders and others to tell them that it is doable, it's possible, very possible to live a Christian life in business. Ethical, of course, we don't call it Christian because you're talking even non-Christian. Ethical life in business. And we actually have started even a style of assessing business. You call us your business, we assess how ethical you are. So that you don't say I'm ethical, we do an independent study so that you are ethical. So we started moving from church to church, asking pastors to give us business people. I'm actually encouraging every church to have a Christian business fellowship for every branch. So the business people can meet together to agree whether it is true they are all corrupt. Remember, the young people are saying, all people, if you see someone driving a good car, it's obvious why. Because they know there's no way you can be driving a good car without, not in Kenya. So why don't you meet together? Let the young people pin you down. And I'm suggesting every church. Remember, I talked about salt and light as a church, and salt and light as individuals. And I'm suggesting every church to create a Christian business fellowship. It doesn't have to meet every week. It can be meet once a month or every quarter. Where when you meet, you are not meeting to discuss the subject is how can one make it in Kenya professionally. And since the challenges are obvious, these last 2 months or 3 months, give us a testimony of how the Lord helped you. In order to kill the idea that everybody in Kenya is corrupt. Now, if you think I'm just thinking it up, Nation newspaper reported a study done by Aga Khan University among young people. Those of you who read it, you know what's said. Young people are saying that since everybody is corrupt, even themselves, they want to get rich. And if it requires a corruption, they intend to be in it. That is a proper scientific research that shows the average young person in Kenya believes in corruption. And they don't blame themselves, they blame us. That we have shown them the way. That's the only way of making it. So I went now to a church in one of those visits. I went to one of the big churches in Nairobi. And I was very impressed when they told me I will invite you to the men's fellowship. Men's fellowship. And they told me to go to the church, I need to go at, they told me I need to go at, what time did they say? They told me to go at 6. So I asked them, will the men be awake so early? They said, yeah, they'll be there. I was surprised. I just arrived before 6, and the car was full of cars. So I was very impressed. To go there, I'm 70 next year, but I was one of the young people. These are old people who are keen to be in the men's fellowship. So I talked to them about the importance of ethics. During question time, one of the old men, he must be in his 80s, 70s or 80s, put up his hand and said, it's very good to talk about the ethics you told us, but let's be honest. That's not the ethic where we are in business. There is hidden ethics Muslim ethics, other ethics. Christian ethics don't work. Another one said the same, and I realized I'm in a tight spot. Because they're in agreement. Just like the young people, they're in agreement. Kwa ground mambo. And now these are not the people I can dismiss. Because they are older than. They have been doing business for 40, 50 years. And looking at the type of cars they had in the car park, obviously they have done well. So, and now, how do I deal with the matter? And I was asking the Lord, how do we deal with it? Because they are right. They are dealing with the facts. When I stood up, I looked where the reverend was. I looked at the reverend. Reverend, did you hear what they said? They told you what you say on Sundays is totally irrelevant on Mondays. That whatever we say in church. No, I started before asking that question, I asked them, do you agree that what I was preaching was biblical? They said, yeah, we agree. So you agree, that's what the Bible tells you, yeah, but it's not practical. So I turned to the pastor, have you heard? Whenever you come on Sunday, you are doing drama. People do not believe what you teach them on Sundays. And because on Monday to Saturday, they are living a different life. Surely, and I was asking now the whole meeting, it means from next Sunday we close the church. Because Mondays are full. Why do you waste your time in church when you know it doesn't work? So, of course, the pastor did not answer me. So, we are going to close the church from next Sunday. Otherwise, unless we just enjoy drama. You have been told openly. And you know what I like about that church? It's honesty. Because most of the other churches you go, you can never hear people talk like that. But this was theirs, looked at me, they said, I do not say about it. They said, that's impractical. It doesn't work. So you need to understand, becoming salt is adding very close salt in a mountain of ugali. I'm not communicating. That we are going to be a minority and very few. Back to my principle. But remember, salt does not have to be much. It can change the taste of the food without being in big quantities. What that tells you is that what we are discussing here is that as a leader, don't worry about how many people are following. Start by sticking with it, and somebody will follow. Some bodies will follow. They may not be many, but they will. And they will slowly follow until it become a critical mass. And I told you the critical mass does not have to be more than 2 people in 10. And the moment you reach the critical mass, it becomes embarrassing for people to do what they have always done, thinking they have a right. They will now start doing it secretly. You know now in Kenya, bribery is done open, isn't it? We can easily influence, become salt, until it is embarrassing to be corrupt. I'm not suggesting there will be no corruption, but we will move from where we are, where the normal thing is to be corrupt. You know, the other day a young lady told me how she went for a meeting, and it was about HIV. And the person giving the talk said one of the problems of HIV is people not being practical. Let's be practical. You cannot be 25 and be a virgin. Don't we know? And one lady, the sister we talking about was in her 30s. So they are not asking her, they are telling her that they know she's immoral. Now, she put up her hand and said, I don't like that assumption. Says, unless you are not practical. Is there any woman in her 20s or 30s who has not had sex? It's not normal. So let's talk about, since we know you are immoral, let's talk about how to prevent HIV AIDS. And you know that thing has gone to the level that even Christian parents are buying condoms for their own teenagers. Because you see, they know they are going to be immoral. So let's not debate that. Just well, be immoral, my son, but don't get HIV. As if HIV is as bad as hell. So you are ready to get your son to hell, but you're not ready for him to get HIV. I'm talking about Christian parents. They buy condoms for their. Why? Because you have gotten to the level to believe. The Holy Spirit has no capacity to empower a young man to walk righteously. Am I communicating? And it's important to understand being called salt means for you to be that young lady that is ready to be single for life if the alternative is to sleep with a boy. Because I'm told by young people, every boy who dates you, the meaning of dating has changed. You know me, I was a teenager in the 70s, or 60s and 70s. That time, dating, if you were a sister and a brother, it is just having a fellowship. Now I hear dating a girl means sleeping. What? So when I say that's my girlfriend, I mean that's a girl I sleep with. That's how bad things are. To become salt means to be ready to be single for life rather than to marry on your way to hell. No husband can compare with hell. Am I communicating? And I hear, before I used to think that's a matter of only girls. I hear now that their boys, their girls doing the same. They are putting so much pressure on boys. How can you call yourself a man? And you leave me the way I am? Are you really my boyfriend? You might be sitting with somebody else. So you're not even serious with me. If you are serious by now, you'd have done something. You need to understand. You need to understand. To become salt, my young man, means to be willing to be dropped like a hot potato by one girl after another. Why will you allow that? Because you know very well, the one the Lord wants you to marry, even if they run away, they'll come back. Because the Lord will shepherd them back. Am I communicating? So when they leave you, just sympathize with them. They are wasting their time. Because God will bring them. It is not difficult. It's impossible for them not to come back to you. Because it's the Lord doing it. I have written a book called Finding a Life Partner. And in the book, I tell young people, when the Lord wants you to marry, He will always bring somebody for you to marry. Of course, He may want you to marry when you are 45. But you are only 25 and you're already having problems. And yet there is another 20 years to go. But you need to understand it clearly. If He wants you to marry, He will bring one of my classmates, one of the ladies who was on the line. I married in 1979. So I've been married for more than 42 years. And one of the people who was on the queue with us, one of our friends who were together in the university, who was he never got to become a professional, went out of the country, never married. Until when we reached 60, we said, it will never happen. Then another day she wrote to me and said, John, you will not believe it. Somebody has proposed. Do you know Brother so-and-so? He has proposed. We were all excited the other day attending her wedding in her 60s. When the Lord wants you to marry, and you need to understand it clearly. If you marry in your 20s and you die in your 60s, you have been married for 40 years. Am I right? If you marry in your 60s and you die at 100, you also have been married for. So it's important to understand. When you say I'm late by whose standard? Unless you know when you are dying, how can you actually talk about being late? Now, remember we are talking about becoming salt. It means that for you trust in God so much. And the critical thing is, whenever young girls are feeling late, they see you and you are at 37. They say, surely, if Atieno is waiting, I'm only 22, I can also. That's what it needs to be. Not communicating. Yeah. And so if you choose to become salt, which is our topic, it will be important that you do it. And I have a measuring thing and have only 10 more minutes to go. And I was still introducing the subject. Can somebody read that one for me? Give the mic to somebody. I want participation. Who has the mic? Anybody? Just read that loudly for us. Read loudly.
Let me read. When I was a young man, I wanted to change the world. I found it was difficult to change the world, so I tried to change my nation. When I found I couldn't change the nation, I began to focus on my town. I couldn't change the town, And as an older man, I tried to change my family. Now, as an old man, I realized the only thing I can change is myself. And suddenly, I realized that if long ago I had changed myself, I could have made an impact on my family. My family and I could have made an impact on our town. Their impact could have changed the nation, and I could indeed have changed the world. Written by an unknown monk around 1100 AD.
I took that quotation in order to just mention to you, becoming salt means starting with yourself. And if you don't remember anything else I say, I hope you'll come to where that is what you go home with. You must set an example at whatever cost. And I can tell you clearly, when I was working, I was a district manager, 30 years ago, I was district manager for Shell, which was then the biggest oil company in Kenya. And I can tell you that one contractor after another, and most of them are Arabs, Asians, some Kikuyus, everybody comes to my office and they all come with a gift. Nobody bribes. They only give gifts. And of course I told them, I don't blame you. That's what you assume district managers do. But this one is saved. What it means that they are saved is that they are satisfied in God and the salary that the company, the employer gives. So thank you very much. Keep it, but I will still serve their contract well. But people are not comfortable with anybody they come to manage. Within no time, I had difficulty because they started going to my boss for me to get fired. Not for doing good, but being somebody who cannot be manipulated. Because the moment you accept a gift, now they know how to manipulate you. They will give you a watch and then say, every time they come, they say, hey, Mr. Nanga, how is the watch doing? That's greeting. The moment you talk about the watch, you are unable to say no to anything. You're not communicating. That's how to manipulate you. You are not influencing them. They are influencing you. The Englishman was right when he said, whoever plays the piper determines the tune. So the moment you accept a gift from anybody you ever deal with, please understand, in business, in work, every gift is a bribe. And I know that very well. Why? I retired. Most of those contractors used to say, no, surely, now we are friends. How can you remove a gift of a friend? It's not bribe. I say, I am ready to get you a gift once I retire. And since we retire in Kenya very young, your gift will still be available. I've been retired, man. In our case, we retired at 55. Not a single one of them has ever offered me anything. That's how I knew. Every gift I was ever offered was actually a bribe. Don't cheat yourself with a gift. Oh, it's a Christmas gift. It's a midway. Oh, every gift from a client, every gift with somebody you deal with professionally is a bribe. But I did not know it was creating a new culture. Until the other day, in retirement, I was in an aerobic club, and I was talking to a friend of mine who settled in America. Then my CEO, my former CEO, came and agreed, and I introduced him to my friend. I said, oh, these are some of the Kenyans who settled in America. Then I left. Kumbe, after I left, he went to talk to my friend, this old man. When he talked to my friend, he said, hey, Nanga is your friend, yeah? He is a Christian of the serious type, a professional. The other day, I was talking to, he named a Somali Muslim contractor. And he told me, do you meet Nanga? I said, no, not recently. I worked with many oil companies. The guy owned many tankers. He was a multi-millionaire. Many tankers that were in various Caltex, in Total, wherever. No other manager was ever like Nanga. He will not accept a bribe, and he will still do well for your contract. And now, he has no reason to say it because I have no power. See, I'm retired. It's just talking facts. And so, my friend, my CEO was telling this guy, he set an example that it is possible to be in business and not accept any bribes. Because he was only going to sleep that night and fly off, on his way to the airport, he said, John, I can't reach the airport before I talk to you. What? The testimony I had from your former boss. Are you getting it? Me, I thought I was doing business. But in the process, the Muslim man understood there are Christians and Christians. A real Christian is a good man. And you cannot compromise him. And that I know. I know that because another Asian came to my office and he told me, you don't seem to know this, but I'm an SSP. What is SSP? Senior Superintendent of Police. Oh, and he showed me himself in uniform and he showed me his ID. Why was he doing that? Because there was something in the contract that needed to be sorted out. So the idea is to tell me who he is. When I didn't seem to understand that, he produces a gun and places it on the table. For me to understand. He can take care of me and it will be a wanted criminal. Nothing will happen to him because he's not just a policeman, not a director. He is a senior superintendent of police. And I knew I have to think twice. If I say no to his contract, one of these evenings when I'm gone, I understand why. But on a second thought, I remembered, I am not my own protector. Christ is my protector. I told him no. He left with his gun and his everything. And I knew I can die in a moment. I've just told you I'm around 69 and I'm alive. Am I communicating? See, I'm alive, you can see. You need to understand. You need to understand. To become salt, take the risk of death. Am I communicating? And once you are risk, when the people realize you can stand their gun, they go with a testimony. That's what you're talking about. Remember, you're talking about becoming salt. And it will be important that you understand that. Talking about this, and I'm quoting somebody called Steve Addison in his book, Movements That Change the World. If you are going to be a person who will influence and change your community, you must have hot faith. Not lukewarm. Lukewarm means it's neither hot nor cold. Nobody ever becomes a part of the influence when they are just lukewarm. It must be hot faith. Then he goes on to say commitment to a cause. And I think that's what the previous speaker was saying. You must have a vision, mission, statement. Very interesting. Many of us now have church vision, mission. We don't have personal vision and mission. Last night I was talking to a church couples fellowship. And I was telling them, how can you be so busy making vision, mission, and strategic plan for your organization and you have none for your family? There needs to be clarity. This family exists to achieve what? If you don't have a statement, a mission statement, your children don't know where you are going. It's very important to understand. When you have that, you have a cause to live for. And when you have a cause to live for, you are never idle and you enjoy it. Of course, somebody can sympathize with me at my age. Last night, I was speaking somewhere. The day before, last day, I was speaking to another group. Tomorrow, God willing, I will be speaking MTC Nyen. Now, at your age, you are doing it. I enjoy it, my friend. Don't give me sympathies. So you say, you are sacrificing. How can you sacrifice for something you enjoy? Sacrifice is only for something you don't enjoy. When you have a cause, you enjoy it. Am I communicating? Yes, sir. So it's critical to understand if you are going to become salt, you must have hot faith and you must have a cause to live for. And when it is something to live for, it must also be something to die for. What is that? That is so important to you. You are willing to live for it and if necessary, to die for it. When you are that person, because there are not many people like you, you start becoming salt. And then the guy goes on to say, contagious relationships. That means you're a people person. You always relate with the people. And when you relate with them, you always leave something. You are contagious. Like cholera. When it comes to a village, everybody gets affected. Am I right? Now that's what you become. Do you want to be a salt in your community? Become contagious. Now the only good thing, you are contagious in something positive, not something negative. Are you the kind of a person who is happy to go to heaven alone? No, there are people, they don't disturb anybody. Me, I'm happy to go to heaven. I keep telling people that if you are happy to go to heaven alone, chances are you are not going to Christ's heaven. You are going to some heaven, maybe where the hopes reach. But it's critical to understand. It's critical to understand you are not going to Christ's heaven. Christ's heaven, the way you know you are going to Christ's heaven is that you live for a cause. And you are willing to become contagious about it. Because you are always thinking about other people. And then it goes on to say, they are involved in rapid mobilization. In other words, you try this one, he rejects you, try that one, you always live your life witnessing. You know, when my children were younger, they're all adults, like you can hear some in their 40s. When they were young, and I used to go, I arrived from work, and I used to do house-to-house evangelism, moving among the neighbors. My dad asked, how do you just go to a stranger? I said, do you come with me? Because you go to the house, and it's very easy to go to the house. I think it will be important to understand that some people allow you in, others will not allow. And I just have reached a place, I say, I'm your neighbor from house number, blah, blah, okay, what do you want? I just want to talk about something. Yeah, that's it from there. Now, I learned that it doesn't become sweeter, the gospel doesn't become sweeter inside. If he wants to hear it at the door, I give it at the door. Am I communicating? Yeah, and I've done that all the years. That you need to understand, contagious means you don't feel you would like to be left with a debt. Let the people know. That's what it means to be contagious. And of course, he goes on to talk about adaptive methods. Don't stick to one method. Oh, our church is the way we witness. Our church is the way we are salt. The way you put salt depends on the type of food. Am I communicating? Yeah, you don't put salt in tea, do you? No. So you must adapt. The salt must still go, but you must adapt to the food. So it means you become adaptive. And I wish I hadn't run out of time. According to me, I have done 42 minutes, so I'm 2 minutes above the time. But I wanted to give you the example of William Wilberforce, because that's the best guy in salt. I would like you to go and just Google William Wilberforce for 3 reasons. Number one, he started it at the age of 25. What was his call? To change the manners in Britain, to become salt and change the culture. The culture in Britain is that Christians owned slaves. And he said, this is not biblical. And he set himself to sort it out. So he got employed, he got into parliament. And he didn't have a lot of messages. Every session, it was about changing Britain. At the age of 66 or thereabout, is when finally he was able to win the motion about abolition of slave trade. By the way, slavery was abolished after he died. All he got in his lifetime is abolition of slave trade. My friend, what is it you have which you don't change? It doesn't matter how difficult it is, you go on with it. Let us pray. Lord, you truly want us to be salt. As we come out of this meeting, you like us to change the community we live. Number two, you are telling us it doesn't matter how dirty it is, light always works, however dark the darkness is. And so you are telling us we are salt and light, irrespective of the communities we are involved in. But that way you are reminding us, it is through the power of the Holy Spirit. That we will not do it on our own. We must seek your direction. May that be true of our lives. Help us to have the commitment to do what you want us to do, to change our communities. In Jesus' name. Amen. Amen.